Hello everyone, I'm Singh Gambhir, third year student at IIIT Allahabad. Welcome to our channel Learn Competitive Programming with CodeChef. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithm, this is one-stop destination for you. Every week we will be posting explanations to CodeChef problems, conceptual videos, and also conduct live problem solving sessions. Before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Today we have the problem name point grid, which is an easy level problem. Also, there are no such prerequisites to solve this. So let us see what problem has to say. Initially, we have a grid which is a 2D grid A of infinite width and a height of n units, and each of the row among the n heights, it can be represented as the form of some number of ones followed by infinite number of zeros, where the number of ones, which is x times, it is positive. So basically we have greater than zero amount of ones in a row and then followed by all of the zeros, which is infinite. And we can do steps, and in each of these steps we will choose a cell which has 1 and let this cell be I comma j. Then till the point I comma j lies in the grid, then we can mark each of that particular I and j which is 1, and in every operation of the step we will be decreasing the x and the y coordinate by an amount of 1. So in this way what we can do, firstly we need to select a 1, and then going by decreasing x and y coordinate by an amount of 1 of each, then we will like go on till the point either we are crossing the boundary or we get a cell which is 0. Now we need to basically find what are the minimum number of steps so that we can cover all of the ones which were initially in the grid. This is the input format, and the final answer is just the number of steps which are required so that we can cover all of the ones. So let us see how we can compute answer for these simple test cases. Here we have only marked the cells which have 1 in their cell. We have not marked the zeros one. So if the configuration is like 532, then this particular row has 5 ones followed by zeros in this particular side. This particular row will have 3 and this row will have 2 ones followed by some zeros. And we need to start a step so that we will take such a cell which has 1 and then mark all the cells which are like having 1 less x coordinate, and also y coordinate is also decreased by 1. So if we start our step by this particular one, because we have to mark this particular cell also, so if we start for this particular cell, then no other cell can be marked. But if we start our step with this particular cell, then we can also mark this particular cell also in this step only, because we can decrease x and y coordinate both by an amount of 1. Similarly, if we start our step by considering this particular cell as the starting point, then we can also mark this cell in that step only. Similarly, starting with this, we can mark this particular cell also. And then these 3 cells are needed to be marked by 3 steps, because they cannot be like part of any other step. So for this particular case, the answer comes out to be 7, as we are requiring 7 steps, because in each of these steps, these are the starting point of these steps. So let us see the second test case. Here also we have 4 to 5. So we have only marked the cells which have 1 as their value. Now again, we can start our step by considering this as our starting value of the cell, and no other cell can be marked by using this step. But for this particular cell as the starting point, we can mark these. Similarly, for these, we can mark these in one step only. For this particular cell, no other cell can be marked because there is no one present here. And for this also, we cannot mark any other cell. Similarly, for these cells also, no other, they cannot be included in any other step. So if we see answer for this particular case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 steps in order to mark all of the ones in this particular grid. So let us see how we can approach for this particular problem. If you see for the first row, so for the first row, we want that the ones of these particular row are required to be marked. But if you see, there is no particular row above this row, so there are no ones present above this row, so you cannot include this particular ones, means the ones of this particular row, in any other step. We need to start our step by including these as the first element only. So our step will start by including these all as the first element. Now if we see for the second row, then there are options, as we want to minimize the number of steps. So greedily what we can do is we will try and accumulate most of the ones for this particular row in these steps we have started already. So if you see for the second row, what we can do, we can include this particular one as the part of this step only. Similarly, we can include these ones as the part of already started step. But if you see for these ones, there are no such steps possible that we can include these ones. So obviously we need to start step considering these as the first element. If we see for the third row, then greedily we will always try and accumulate all of the ones for this particular row in the already steps which have started. So accumulate this particular one as the part of this step and this step. Now comes the last row. So obviously now again we will try and have the ones for this particular row as part of already started step. So these ones are covered. Now these ones cannot be covered because we don't have one here so as to cover this particular one. So if you want that this particular one has to be covered, so we need to start steps by considering these elements as the starting point of the step. So what we can conclude from here is that for the first step, we want that all of the elements like which are one in this particular row, they are required to have starting point of the step. But from the second row onwards, what we can do is we will try and accumulate ones of those row in the already started step, and the remaining ones, if they are like not possible to accumulate, then we will start this step. And for the final answer, we will just add the number how many steps we have started. So that will be our final answer. Let us see how we can code this particular thing. So for the coding part, as usual, for each of the test case, we will call the function name solve. Now for each of the test case, this part takes on the input. And initially the answer, it will be the number of ones present in the first row. So here what the thing is, in the question, the rows were given in the form of the bottom to top, but what we have considered is from top to bottom. So the first row which we have included in our explanation is the a of n minus 1 of the question. So initially the value of answer is to be this particular term. Now we will start our loop from the second row onwards, and the maximum number of ones which we can cover of this particular row considering all of the steps of the previous row is a of I plus 1 minus 1, because the value of x and y, it is decreased by 1. So the maximum number which we can include for this particular row is the maximum number which we have started for the above row minus 1, because the value of y also decreases by 1. Now if the number of ones for this particular row, it is less than this maximum amount, then no step is required to be started. But if it is not the case, then we will subtract the amount maximum from this, and the remaining number of ones, it is required to be added, because we need to start step for those ones. And finally we will output answer as our final answer. So let us submit our code. Also, did you know that CodeChef also conduct free live classes on Unacademy where we teach every possible topic related to competitive programming? These courses are conducted by top coding experts who have been ICPC World Finalists and are also highly rated on various coding websites. You can use my referral code MEET10 to subscribe and get instant 10% off. We have an AC. That's it for this one. Make sure to like the video if you gain something out of it. Do submit your code even after the contest. In case of any sort of doubt or feedback, feel free to leave in the comments.